Get upset.
Do we have a keyword or a secret word for...
Ah, damn. We'll record it now, and I'll put it in the beginning. Like
Saint.
We'll cut this part out. Saint P?
Saint whatever. Just
Saint. Saint is
put
the
a
keyword.
word with Saint in front of it. So you could put Saint if you want. Just
come on.
Someone's got to keep it fresh around here.
Yeah, but you can't. We have to keep it clean for the...
Why not?
So Saint is the code word for this episode. But Saint plus, make it fun. Put Saint something. And what we do with these is if you leave a review, if you're not watching on YouTube, leave a review, just use the keyword Saint in there. And we go through at the end of the month and we collect all the reviews and comments everywhere. And then we do a random giveaway and we'll reach out to you.
You seen that video?
Yeah.
That newscast? Anyway, it's funny to me.
Who hasn't?
Well, welcome to another episode of the Whiskey and Whitetails podcast. This is episode 64 coming at you during St. Patty's Day weekend. You should be getting this March 14th. Unless you're a Patreon, you were lucky enough to get it early. Which is a good segue to let you know and remind you about our Patreon, which you can join to both help support us and get cool shit in return.
Yeah, support yourself. Support yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Patreon
help us help you.
Pays for the studio, basically. So
it allows us to keep doing this, and when we have some extra, we some of our tiers get extra bennies.
Some people get
benefits.
Some of the tiers get a shirt. Everybody gets something. I don't think anybody's not happy.
Yeah, no, I think everybody's pretty happy.
Even people that need to come down a tier, they come down. They don't just leave; they just come down a tier.
Yeah, and the Discord be popping.
Yeah, the Discord benefits are high. I gave away a Willet Reserve Rye in Discord. Sometimes I drink a little bit, and I'm like, hey, first person to come hang out with me while I smoke the cigar gets a bottle. So
nice.
But yeah, that's all these names up here above. That's our executive producer tier, which you can join. And then your name comes in the videos.
Yeah, you can put that right in your LinkedIn.
Costs a lot. And then you can use code podcast.
It's a sign of intellect.
Save 20%.
That's right.
On pretty much everything in our store. And right now, turkey season, our turkey calls we're running a sale on the turkey call. So if you need a turkey call, we have slate and glass, and they're made from Buffalo I think the new ones are Buffalo Trace bourbon barrels.
Mm-hmm.
And they're pretty cool. So we got a glass one with a Purple Heart back soundboard.
Yep.
With our name on. And then we have a slate one with Whiskey and Whitetails branded on the back.
Yep. White oak.
They're guaranteed.
Purple Heart soundboard on the glass.
Mm-hmm.
And both the glass and slate sound great.
Mm-hmm.
They have slightly different tones just because the material is different, but
if you know what you're doing, you know which one you need.
Yep.
And they come with a 100% guarantee you'll kill a turkey with them every time.
I saw you post that and I was like, that might backfire, but probably not.
What are you gonna do?
It's not written anywhere. We just kind of threw it out there.
Yeah, that's just our promise to you.
You're guaranteed to kill. What we should say is you're guaranteed to kill something. Right. And then when someone's like, I didn't kill turkey, I'm like, no, but I bet you killed some time, didn't you?
Yeah, you killed some time. There you go.
We didn't specify what you were killing.
Yeah. Guaranteed to kill something with it. That may be the new slag. That's the new slag line.
The new slag line. Guaranteed to kill something.
So we forgot to bring a Irish whiskey. So we went with this green Taconic, which we've had before. It's very good. I enjoy it. So I'm not going to do a pop because it'd be like a half open bottle pop there. But
I had a pour last night of that Woodford Reserve Double Oak that we got from Gibby's.
Yeah.
And it's about a third of the way empty. And I picked up this peppery note that I was not getting earlier in the bottle. And I like it a lot.
Yeah, profile changes.
Yeah, it's really good. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's a good bottle.
It's like getting three separate bottles because by the time you get to the last third, it's going to open up something different. It's like having three different bottles.
It's like a cigar. That's one thing I saw about Trevor. I was like, it's kind of hard to do bottle pairings with cigars because a fresh pop and an empty bottle.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, that's kind of the same thing with cigars. Like the first, second, thirds.
Yeah.
Will taste a little
changes.
Different. So, we don't get political or religious on this podcast. So my question before I go down this is gas political? I know that presidents claim that they raise or lower or are not responsible, but is gas a political topic?
So you sort of made my point for me in my response is that anything is political when it benefits one side or the other.
Yeah.
So if gas prices are low and economy's chugging along, of course the president
I'll take that.
did it. But when the gas prices are high and people are pissed, Not my fault. Yeah.
Right. So therefore, you can say that it's not.
Gas affects every single person on a daily basis, and it affects their wallets and their ability.
That's one of the things I wrote down is like we've been arguing about political sphere has been crazy the past 4 years or whatever it's been. But I mean, like never before seen. But the gas thing, everybody's just pissed.
Yeah, I mean, how can you not be?
Right. So then we can talk about it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So I want things to make sense to me. That's one of the reasons I'm not political or religious, because depending on the politician or the religion, your opinion doesn't make sense, or the opinion of the overarching, you know what I mean? Like,
it's the group think.
Like Westboro Baptist Church doesn't make sense. You know, I mean,
right. But
communism.
If you're on the far right and far left, and again, I don't like talking about this, but the point is that it seems like they latch on to a group think.
Yeah.
And because that's what the majority, that's the
right.
You know, you got to toe the party line, even when that little voice in the back of your head goes, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
You got to do it because blue or red.
Yeah.
And I'm the same way. I can't do it.
I can't do it. So I was reminded of Joe Dirt when he says, he was like, when his dad was like, why is the sun set? How's a posi track rear end and a Plymouth work? It just does.
How exactly is a rainbow made? How exactly does the sun set? How exactly does a posi track rear end on a Plymouth work? It just does. It just does.
Right. So like this gas thing, it's like, it's not his fault. It's not her fault. It's Russia's fault. It's like, well, none of that makes sense. I'm like, it just does. Okay.
It just does.
So I went down the rabbit hole. I did math, which I love doing. So it went from 346 to 433 in 30 days.
Yeah.
Right. Which is pretty crazy. So I was looking at how much gas we use. So in the US, we use 19.78 million barrels a day, petroleum products. Right. So the thing I see in the news is that it's because of Russia. Right. So I was like, well, how much do we get from Russia? We get 672,000 barrels per day on average in 2021 from Russia, which equates to 3.39% of our petroleum products, 3.39%.
Yeah.
So I don't think that has anything to do with the prices. We get 51% from Canada. And then my overall thought here is energy dependent. The United States should be energy dependent, meaning we produce enough oil to satisfy our needs, and then we sell or stockpile the rest.
Yeah.
And then that way we won't be subject to the world economy because we're energy dependent. That's what that word means. But a lot of people twist it into other things. And now I wish that we were more green, but we aren't even close to being like everybody's on lithium battery. Like we're not even anywhere near it. So worrying about that right now doesn't matter. But we have enough to just turn on the tap a little bit and pull us out of this. And then if we full on fracked and all that stuff, people talk about fracking, earthquakes, like people sleep through those. So here's my tinfoil hat thought.
Okay.
Because that's where this was going.
All right.
$5.49 right now is what diesel is, which is, I drive
saw that on the way,
diesel.
and that just hurt for you, man.
Yeah. So,
and how big of a tank do you have? Because Jessica and I were talking about this, and I was like, well, I saw the number of gallons. She was like, how big is this tank? And I was like, well, I actually don't know, but I never considered the fact that the F-250s, F-350s, because they are generally work trucks
made for towing,
and they're made for towing. And you have, you're filling with diesel. They're designed to hold more. And I didn't even think about that it's costing folks like you over $200 to fill up a tank of gas right now.
And could you guess how many miles per gallon I get? Like, what we get on the highway, but around town coming to work.
I less than 15?
16 and a half is about what I average. Yeah. So 16 and a half. That's $266 a month in fuel at $5.49 just to go to work and back, which is 40 miles round trip.
How much a month?
$266 just to go to work and back.
That's just to cover to and from work.
Nothing 40 miles, nothing else. So if I stop somewhere, blah, blah, blah.
Live your life.
Tinfoil hat here.
Talk to me, man.
What was happening in Canada a month ago?
Oh, the whole trucker thing.
What started 2 weeks ago in America?
The same thing.
And they were driving from California to DC. How much?
You think they're trying to price people out of these?
Well, I don't know. It's a thought.
It's a good idea, though.
It makes sense, right? How can we put a stop to this? Well, let's make diesel extremely expensive. The 6.5 miles per gallon is average for an 18-wheeler. Now they're stuck in DC and they can't leave. But they said they weren't going to park like they did in Canada. They were just going to circle the Beltway. Well, now they can't afford to. So what do? Do they stop and it causes an uprest?
Yeah.
Or do they turn around and go home and eat it?
No, they run out of gas and just sit on the Beltway.
Well, I mean, I think that there's more to this gas thing than just.
Yeah, it very well could be.
It was just a thought.
Well, I think it's multifaceted, but I think that could certainly play a role in it. You know what I mean? Like, I think you talked about energy independence, and we have the ability to be.
Yeah.
But environmentalists and the whole Green New Deal stuff, and they're again. We have
oil's not going anywhere.
We are so many years from being energy independent from renewable things like wind and stuff like that. The infrastructure it takes to build that stuff up and get it to a point where it can be as efficient as petroleum.
Yeah.
We're just not there yet.
So do we lock it down now and just for the next 10 years while we're building this infrastructure? I
think if we had someone smart and making some of those decisions in our leadership, I think we should. I mean, the administration's very first official act when they took office was to revoke the XL pipeline. So like we immediately put ourselves at the
mercy of the world market. Which we should not be.
Yeah, and the administration's like, we're not going to take any fuel from Russia. We're just going to take it from Venezuela and somewhere else, which are all.
I don't want to get into the political side of it.
All right, I won't. But
I'm just talking purely gas prices.
Gas prices suck.
But it
absolutely could be a tool.
If the tinfoil hat thing is correct, that would mean that it is political to discuss gas prices.
Well, I'll take your tinfoil hat and raise it to a manufactured RFID shielding beanie that is for everyday wear.
Yeah.
Gas prices are up. Home prices are up. Everything right now, inflation is ridiculous through the roof, right? People are having a hard
APRs to go up.
Yeah, I know.
Did you see in the 90s? I was watching those 90s commercials, and one of them was a car commercial, and it was as low as 6.5% APR for a car loan.
Yeah.
In the 90s.
Yeah.
And like I just refinanced one of my cars for 2.4%.
Yeah. There's a dealership commercial last night touting 1.9 something or 1.89 APRs. And you know how that works at dealerships. Nobody ever gets approved for that.
GM financing.
Yeah. But so everything's through the roof, like price-wise. All the stuff going on overseas with Europe and Russia, the banks. Did you see that Biden just signed an executive order for the Congress or federal government to do a deep dive investigation into cryptocurrencies?
Yeah, I did. And did you see cryptocurrency it went up like Bitcoin went up like 10 grand in the past 3 days.
So I think the market the economy is being bent over on purpose. And I think there's a proposal for universal basic income that is coming.
Could be.
And it's going to be we know times are hard, world conflict, things are tough. Here, if you just do these things, if you make sure you follow these steps and you do what the government tells you, you fall in line with what daddy's orders are, you'll get this universal basic income. You'll never have to worry about not being able to put food on your table again.
Yeah. Or they make gas free.
Yeah, they're going to be. They're doing. There's something.
Everybody gets 100 gallons,
and you can go down the rabbit hole if you just start looking up the Great Reset and all these other things at the World Economic Forum.
Yeah, that gets political.
It does get political, but if you even just consider all that stuff and then look at what's going on in the world, man, it sure does play right into it. But
I won't say any names, but some of the wildest conspiracy theorists of all time, when you just listen to them, you're like, what is this guy talking about?
Yeah, you go back 10 or 15 years and they were spouting the same and you were like,
they're talking,
that dude is out of his mind. And here we are going.
Well, what he said came true.
Nostradamus. He was right.
Yeah.
Not just once. Anyways.
So I'm going to hit that plug early.
Which one is this? The plug of the week? Yeah.
So since I am clearly the one that spends the most on gas, I'm going to plug it. The Get Upside app. You can go download it.
Yeah, there you go.
And if you use code MATT6, I didn't pick this, MATT66539, MATT66539, and you put that into the Get Upside app, you will get an additional 15-cent gallon off bonus the first time you sign up, but you can save it 25 cents cash back And when you sign up, it gives me also 15 cents off. So you're helping me. You're helping. You don't want to support Patreon, you got to buy gas anyway.
And when you share it with your friends and family and they use it, you get little kickbacks as well. And so my wife and I use it when we remember, and we just let it pile up over the year. And then for Christmas time, we'll cash out a gift card, and we'll use that for Christmas shopping.
I haven't used it all year, but just from referrals, I have $13 in there right now. So, I mean, it is real money, and you can get an Amazon gift card. You can get a regular gift card if you want. I think they even do PayPal transfer.
Lee showed it. I showed it to Lee, and he was super sketched about it.
Yeah.
He was like, the only reason I'm trusting this is because it's coming from you, and you do cybersecurity. So if you say it's okay, I'm going to use it. Because he has the Ram turbo diesel. I don't remember which. It's like a 6-cylinder turbo, whatever. Anyways, he spends a bunch of money on fuel, but because he drives from way out, almost in Sanford, all the way to Bragg for work a bunch. Between that and everyone he shared it with, he had like over $100 last year.
Nice.
Yeah.
Which is good. It's money back, and
it's free money,
and you're getting discounted at the pump.
And it's not just so in certain cities, it's a little bit more popular than others, but they also do food places.
Yeah,
where you can order food and you get kickbacks for it as well.
Yep. So just saying, if you want to help me out,
if you would like to support Matt getting to work,
use code Matt66539.
So he doesn't have to keep driving to get groceries in his golf cart.
Yeah, that's what I do. It's free.
I know it is.
The golf cart comes in handy. I will not go to Publix without the golf cart now.
I wouldn't either.
Like it's raining today, so no Publix. No, I won't eat tonight. I'm sure there's something in the freezer I can thaw out.
Honey, we're eating a cat. You had to choose which one would you eat first.
I always say I'm going to eat salsa.
Why?
I just always said, like, Betty, you look delicious today. Mm-hmm. And she's like, stop. I'm like, I just look at them legs, you know? And so I used to do it. I'd get in his face and be like, and I think that's why he hates me. He's a cool cat.
Each of those cats are so funny. Jeff was so dead to the world the other day when I was at your house.
Yeah. Because we had him outside.
Bud Light box. Mm-hmm. He was like,
his face was upside down. Yeah. So yesterday I took the first cat.
Yeah.
Which we refer to as Cat or Kitty. We took her. She's just like she's a cat. Like the other three, I have a lot of cats. The other cats are like, they have personalities, but she is just like, she's a killer eyes. You know, patrols the house, looks for bugs, and then goes back upstairs and hides under the bed. So she got like in my face the other day and meowed, and I was like, "Woof, girl, your breath is terrible." And looked in there, and like her teeth are like rotting out of her face.
Oh, that's not good.
So I took her to the vet yesterday. Full extraction, every tooth.
No.
Yeah, they're gonna have to pull every single tooth out of her head.
And then what?
She said that the gums will callus over, and she'll be able to eat hard food again. What? But you can try and feed her soft food and see if she'll eat it. And I was like, is this going to kill her? And she's like, no, I'll figure it out. It happens all the time in nature.
Weird. So what is the cause of it? Is it age? Is it genetics?
Bad genes. Yeah, she thinks. It's she's not old enough.
Yeah.
And I was like, we feel terrible that we didn't notice. I just never see her. And she's like, cats hide pain like better than dogs.
Yeah.
Like you'll never know a cat's in pain.
Right.
But it makes sense because she's gotten like overly grumpy the past couple months. Mm-hmm. I think that's why. Just her face hurts.
Face fucking hurts. Yeah. I bet. Yeah, freaking hurts.
But yeah. So I'm talking to her and she's like, well, we charge by the hour. And then
do you need some help?
1 to 2 hours and then 3 to 5 hours. She's like, this is going to be a 3 to 5 hour surgery. And I was like, oh, she's like, it's going to be
in. You get one side, I get the other.
Yeah. I was like, well, they're pretty loose. Like I can start pulling them out before we get here, you know? And she was like, I was like, what are the other options? She's like, we can give her pain meds and just wait till they all fall out. And then like some antibiotics. I was like, I'm not going to do that to her.
No, that's terrible.
And she's like, there's really no other choice. And in my head, I'm like, well, I could put her down, but I'm not going to put her down for that. That's stupid.
Yeah.
So she's like, it's going to be really expensive. And so I'm thinking like
thousands.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
What was she thinking?
Like she said between 600 and 800.
Oh,
I was like, I mean, it's expensive, but it's not. I thought I was going to have to like get a loan.
Yeah, no, I hear we had something like that with Layla when she was a puppy. And this was, I had not been in my career very long. We were just started living together and we got this puppy. And I got hit with like a $3,000 bill for a vet bill. And that was, there's a company called Care Credit that does like, it's basically a credit card that you can use for medical stuff. And I had to get to pay for it because it was an emergency visit. So it was like, thanks for coming. We're going to take really good care of her. Emergency. But go ahead and sign this paperwork. It was $1,500 just to walk in the door. And as soon as I signed that paper, you were like, this is a minimum of $1,500. There's going to be more. And they kept her overnight and took blood every hour to monitor her kidneys. She got into a fucking puppies labs. She got onto the bed and then pulled a bottle of ibuprofen off of the nightstand and opened it. And when I found her, she was sitting on the bed, chewing on the bottle with pills everywhere. And so that stuff will cause renal failure in a dog. And so she had licked some of the pills and they turn white when the coating comes off. Yeah. So we made her puke, but when you put the peroxide in the dog, make them throw up, they get it's foamy. Couldn't tell what was in there and what wasn't. Yeah. Anyways, $800, I'd take that all day long.
Well, that's like getting the dog's teeth like descaled back in the day. I remember it was $500-600 just to put them down, clean the teeth. It was $500. So I thought, but then I didn't consider her head's like this big. So and she's only got like 5 teeth left.
Jeez, man, poor kitty.
Yeah, they gave her, I think, distemper and rabies and a
shots.
Yeah. Like not penicillin, but
just an antibiotic.
Yeah, antibiotic. So they gave her those, and she came home. She hides in that cabinet. She just
didn't come out.
Didn't come
she
out.
Probably felt like crap.
Yeah. So I opened the cabinet, and I was like, "Kitty, you okay?" Because I want to make sure she didn't die. And like I reach in to pet her, and she's like, I was like, all right. Leave you alone.
Like grumpy kids.
Yeah. That's and then when we went to bed, she I checked on her again, and then she followed us upstairs and got on the bed and was like, meow, meow. Yeah. I was like, oh, you're feeling better then. Cats.
Yeah.
So welcome to the Whiskey and Whitetails podcast, where we talk about gas and cats and dogs.
Yeah, cats.
So what's new?
Let's see. What is new? Not a whole lot. A little slow.
Yeah.
But it's good catching up on other areas of business.
Yeah.
We have night market for our first night market coming up in a couple weeks. We don't have anything crazy going on right now. Just kind of prepping, actually doing work, like I said, getting caught up on things and honestly just kind of enjoying it being a little quiet right now. But
did you finish taxes?
Yeah, taxes were turned in before the end of February.
Cool.
Got those turned. I'm sure he will have questions and things he needs, but I got the form filled out. I filled out everything the best I could based on all the info we had in Etsy, Shopify, and QuickBooks. And I said, look, double check it all if you need to. I said, you have access to QuickBooks. If something doesn't make sense or isn't adding up, let us know and we'll help you figure it out.
Yeah.
So he has it all. We're just waiting to hear back.
Good deal. So we got that. Like I said, night market's coming up. We did good in the spring last year.
Yeah,
way better than the fall.
Yeah.
The spring, and then even when it was hot outside, I guess tourist season, I guess, which is starting to ramp up. We went to, where did we go? We went somewhere and for lunch or something. I don't know why I can't think of it, but where we were sitting there and everybody in there was talking about Ohio. It was just crazy.
Why?
It's just this, as soon as you meet somebody, be like, oh, I'm from Dayton or whatever. And you're like,
cool.
I'm going to go to another bar. I can't, but yeah, so the tourists were showing up. There's a lot of tourists already, which it's March, seems early. But I think that the gas prices might put a hamper on it.
Dude.
It's a good thing we bought all our airline tickets for the year. Because.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Gas prices are going to hamper everything. I mean, not just.
Milk's like $4.80 a gallon right now.
Yeah, dude, I was going to say groceries.
Yeah.
The cost of transport goes up. The cost of everything
goes up. Yep.
Time to get that vegetable garden planted so you can spend $150 on supplies and eat your 35-cent.
I know.
Save 35 cents on tomatoes or whatever.
I meant to do it last year and I forgot, but it's like we're getting to that. I was going to do like those the planters that the elevated ones, just so like squirrels can't get in it.
Yeah.
But I forgot to do it last year, but I need to go ahead and start planting.
Your back patio might actually be a good spot for some things like tomatoes and things like that need sun but also need shade.
Yeah.
They get good shade in the morning and then sun in the evening.
I was gonna build a ramp, like a roof, but a ramp. That way the water would collect more water.
Yeah.
There's a bus stop by our house, and the guy, I don't think it's a guy's house. I think it's a business that he runs, but it's a house. Yeah, in South Carolina they do that.
On the corner there with the palm trees?
Yeah, they're banana trees.
Banana trees, yeah.
Yeah, and so he built that bus stop, and on the bus stop he put a roof over it, and then has drains on the roof that go down to the flower pots to water the plot. And I thought that was pretty nifty too.
It's pretty. My uncle had a setup like that for their garden, and it collected in a number of holding tanks.
Yeah,
and then it was just gravity fed into hoses, and then he could go out there and just turn it on, and it would just gravity feed water, and you turn it off.
It's illegal in California.
I was going to say you have to be careful. It's not just California; it's different
states.
Yeah, different municipalities and
that's our rain. You're not allowed to collect our rain. How do you own the rain?
Yeah, there was a guy, I forget where it was. It wasn't in California; it was somewhere else. But he was basically kind of living off grid. He had bought a parcel of land, but he had no utilities turned on, and basically it had something to do with the way taxes are done. It was connected to wherever you have utilities running is considered a residence, and so that's how they determine your taxes. And because he didn't have utilities, but he was living on this property, he wasn't having to pay all these taxes, and so they fined him and tried to arrest him and all this other stuff. And it's just like, I'm living on my land that I own.
Yeah,
I'm collecting rainwater, and I have solar power, and he had all these things taken care of, his septic tank. He was very much reliant, self-reliant.
It's God's water, man.
Nobody owns the water. It's God's water.
Yeah, and they were like, "Yeah, you're not suckling at the tea of the government enough.
Yeah,
you're in trouble." And
we had a neighbor that did solar panels, and they became totally independent on power. So they were selling power back. So SCEG Dominion.
SCEG Dominion.
Dominion, they, for 2 months, they were paying them for electricity. And then Dominion was like, oh, so you don't need us. And so they charge them a connection fee. It's just in case. But it was 80 or it was right around $100 a month. They charge them a connection fee for not using their power, just to being connected. Pretty crazy. It came out in the wash a little bit, but they still had to pay $20-$30 a month.
Yeah, they'll find any way to make money.
Yeah, they're gonna. Yeah, they got it. You gotta make sure the wheel keeps turning, as they say.
As they say. So turkey season's almost here. We mentioned turkey calls earlier. Do you have plans? I think we mentioned you're hunting in Kentucky in the mountains. Mm-hmm. I talked with a good buddy yesterday. I was talking to you about earlier. I think we're going to try and get out and do some hunting in Francis Marion this year. Get out there and try to smack some turkeys.
I think we should, since we missed so much of deer season, I think we should probably try and go a little hard in the paint on turkey season.
I'm down for it. It's historically kind of slow for us.
Yeah.
In terms of, we're not getting slammed with online orders, but I mean, we have other stuff going on, so it makes it a little easier to break away. And hunting turkey is nice because you can do it in the morning, you can do it in the afternoon, you can kind of go out whenever. Your odds change depending on how you decide to go about doing it, but if you only have time to get off work and go out for a few hours before sunrise, you can go out and kill a turkey.
We watched a call championship or something the other day where these guys, it's like they're experts.
Yeah.
And the theatrics involved are insane to me. Think of a bodybuilding competition where they come out and they bronze their skin and they do all the poses. You would think that a turkey call, if you've never seen one, you should look it up. You would think that they would just be doing the call, no, they're that was a chicken, but they're doing the, they move their head and
especially if they're using mouth calls. They'll use their hands and mimic what the turkey's mouth would be doing. I've seen guys when they're using or making the same noises to mimic drumming, spitting and drumming. I've seen them crouch down and act like they're
doing the kicking the feathers,
strutting and everything. Yeah, it's pretty funny to watch.
I just never would have thought that would have been.
Yeah, dude, and they have different, as I'm sure you noticed, they have different categories, right? The mouth calls and different things like that. And they have guys that get up and put on a full blown like they imitate a full blown like scene with various animals, and they'll start off with like a crow or an owl call, and then they'll give a gobble response, and then they'll mimic a fly down from a tree with like, and they bring out props and they're like making the noises, and it's wild.
Yeah.
And you got like 12-year-old kids that are phenomenal. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. It makes me wonder if Jacob does it. I've never seen him do it.
I just see him stand there and
yeah, he just does
the thing.
He does it like I would do it. If I
right,
was
yeah,
doing it.
just stand there like all boring and
Yeah.
just like, did I win?
You're not boring, Jacob.
No, not. I didn't mean that Jacob was boring. I just meant compared
he
to all
wasn't
the other
theatrical.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying when he shows his calls online, Jacob is not super theatrical. There's no need to be.
Yeah. You're showing off the thing. You don't need to add.
But that's how I would. That's how I would do a
it,
tournament.
too. I would feel
competition.
really dumb strutting around. So Kyle, we were supposed to do. We got to talk about that when we could do a podcast with Kyle. We got to do it in the evening.
Okay.
Because he sent all that stuff, but he wants us to try a couple things. But have you been following along on that reel he posted and put us in on?
I guess not.
He just texted me. So it's a reel. I can't because it's got a copyright song on it. So it's a reel that this is all it is. Have you seen it?
You sent me that, and I didn't understand what it was, and then I forgot to look into it.
Exactly. It's just Kyle took a video of the woods, and then he said something about shed hunting, and then he put it to the song "Taking Care of Business," right?
And it's just blown up.
It's at right now. It's at 16,000 views.
What?
And so he just texted me, and he said 16.2K views. The title of our podcast is going to be "How to Get 20K Views on an Accident."
All right.
I think because you're waiting to see what's going to happen, and then nothing happens.
Nothing happens.
Because if you look at reshares, there's like 3. Like no one sent it to anyone.
No.
But I think people see it and they're like, "What am I looking for?" And they watch it again.
But that's a reel, right?
Yeah.
And it's a reel set to a popular song.
Yeah.
That's the algorithm.
Yeah.
Like that's what Instagram is pushing right now is reels.
I spend a lot of time looking at Instagram marketing stuff, and everybody, if you just go through and look at accounts, like nobody's getting likes right now.
Really?
Like just interactions are next to nothing.
Weird.
I started last night going through and I went through people we follow and
just unfollowed them because they suck.
Well, if they haven't posted in this year, unfollow. Which a lot of it's whiskey accounts. Which I had this conversation with Andy last night. Like all these people that we talked about it before, where they have a bottle of bourbon and they like it.
They're like, I'm doing this thing,
and then they're like, now I'm a bourbon guy and I'm gonna start a bourbon page, and they do it, and which is all good. I'm not talking trash. But I think they get in there and they're like, oh, there's a lot of people like this.
Sure.
And so they drop off, or they can't
afford it.
Yeah. Can't afford.
Well, because I mean, that's not a slight on anybody.
No,
it's just if
expensive.
you're going to create content and you want to keep it fresh and people interested, you have to post new bottles, and that gets expensive.
It gets expensive.
There's
recycle.
You can recycle, and there's other ways to create content related to whiskey.
You could do, because I think about it all the time, like in one bottle, because what I try to do when I buy a bottle is I do an unopen.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. I used to do cork pop videos, but I kind of quit doing them. But an unopen, you could do a cork pop video. Then you could do a slow pour. Then you could do a dram with it. Then you could do a cigar.
Right.
And then you could add it to another whiskey and do a blend. Then you could do a cocktail.
Right.
Then you can add it to another whiskey and do a flight.
Yep.
And then you could do a blind. There's a lot of things you can do with 1 or 3 bottles. And I think people just don't, like it. That takes work. And I think they realize how much effort is put into it. Like,
but let's say you take 3 bottles, right? And your end result being doing several pieces of content that involve a blind between the 3. Even before you get to that blind, you just mentioned like 7 different content possibilities.
Yeah.
That's 21 different before you even get to the ones with them combined. You know, if you break that out 1 or 2 pictures a day, 3 bottles can get you through most of a month if you really needed to do that.
But the problem is, I think, is if your photography's not good, a bottle of Wild Turkey 101 just won't go far.
Sure.
Where another thing I've learned, I'm not going to say who it is.
Okay.
But another thing I've learned is there's a guy.
Or gal.
No, it's a guy. And he's known, I'm not going to even give any hints, but there's a guy and he makes a lot of content of him finishing bottles. I've seen him finish a 2018 George T. Stagg like 9 times. So either he has killed 9 bottles of George T. Stagg in the past 6 months, or
Keeping bottles around and filling them up.
just filling them back up and making content, which is another option. So once your bottles are empty,
look, here's the thing: we are not sitting here believing, pretending, or promoting the idea that every piece of content you see out there from anybody is all super legit and genuine and like
it's content.
It's content, right? It's social media.
You're being entertained.
Yeah. Take it for what it's worth.
Yep. We don't really do that. We don't do that.
No,
I've never thought about the empty bottle thing until last night. I was sitting there thinking about it. Not that I'm going to do it, but everything I have that's nice, I don't drink. It just sits there. So if I post a picture of it, that's just how much I've drank since the last time I drank it.
I can attest to that. You have a lot of stuff.
But people do the same thing with trophy pictures.
Yeah, of course.
You can get a picture of the deer on the ground, get a picture of it hanging, get a picture of it at the processor, get a picture of the mount. You can put the mount outside.
You can do some videos of you looking for it, tracking it. There's tons of stuff you can do related to.
You can do a video of you putting that in a trail camera.
Yeah.
Making it look like you got another one on camera.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff you can do with whitetails, even afterwards with how you treat the antlers, or if you want to build a Euro mount or do a DIY mount of some kind or taxidermy.
Like this antler's been in like 40 episodes. Like we've reused it a lot.
It's been very helpful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. We should go a little extra hard for turkey season this year, and we need to sit down and actually sit down and not talk about anything else except focus on planning some hunting trips.
Yeah.
And get some tentative dates and where we want to go so I can run them by the family and make sure we're not conflicting with any other major events, and then get those dates, because I think with the business the way it goes in the fall, the only way we're going to get any solid hunts in is if we plan a solid 4 or 5 destinations where we go and we hunt hard as we can for 2 or 3 days over a weekend, because we're not going to be able to just hop off and go do this random thing. And if I do get that opportunity in the fall, I need to be doing it with my kids, because they didn't get a chance to get out at all last year because we were so busy. So we should definitely do that. And it's still cool enough right now, and it's not so hot that getting in the woods and doing stuff with stands is probably a good idea to do that now.
We say that every spring. Yeah.
But
I would like to move my stand over a tree.
I'm considering leaving the stand I have on the rifle side where I hunt with the rifle where it is. And then for the bow, I think I'm just going to get a saddle and saddle up wherever I feel like it in that same general area.
The problem is that side gate to get back there. It's always a mess. And I just I get to the club and I'm like, I don't want to ruin my truck today and get it coated in mud, tear the road up.
Oh, the gate for down to where you.
But if you came in the back, I don't know. It's almost like you could take the rifle range and just walk down the range and pick a turn right. But then you're sitting off the rifle range, and you know how that goes. That
can go. I've been sitting back hunting on the bow side. And if you look at where my stand is back there and where that berm is, it's directly like 200 yards behind it. When people are hunting, people aren't supposed to be on that on the range, but I've seen people go out there and do it anyways. So
I also wonder if you just come off the hunt club, off the steps, and go right and just go through those pines. I wonder if there's trails in there.
The main door?
Yeah.
There absolutely is.
Yeah.
Because from that, those are all planted pine trees, and there's like every...
Well, I know they cross the road right there.
Yeah, and every 20 or 30 yards, there's like a gap.
Yeah.
Fire break or strip where they've strip cut, and they bed down in there all the time.
Yeah.
You could easily, I would imagine you can go, like you said, take a right, go 100 yards that way, and just go in the middle between where our property ends and where the clubhouse is. Yeah, you probably do it. If you do it carefully and do it consistently enough, you probably at least shoot some does.
Yeah. Which I'm fine with.
Meat in the freezer queens.
Freezer queens.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been watching a show, like an episode a night or whatever. It's can't remember what it's called, but it's about the Kublai Khan, like the Mongol Khan dynasty.
Yeah.
And the Asian influence that they have with China. And so he took over. He's the grandson of Genghis Khan.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, he came up with the idea that if you divide people and you conquer and then you make them all do your thing, there will be resistance.
Right.
So he was like, we don't care what religion, what you believe, you can do whatever you want, just know that you belong to me. And he talks about silkworms. He was like, the silkworm belongs to me. The pouch that the cocoon, that's where silk comes from, that belongs to me. He's like, some little kid will smash the moth that comes out of the cocoon, and I don't care because that kid belongs to me. And like, he's just going, I'm like, it's a pretty fascinating way to look at it, you know? But I started taking melatonin again for sleep.
Uh-huh.
I have some wild dreams, dude.
Do you?
And last night I had a dream that I was like hanging out in China, and I could not figure out, like, it was a recurrent, like I'd wake up and then go back to sleep. And then it happened enough times that in my dream, I was telling myself, look down at your hands. Just look down at your hands. When you get here, look down at your hands. Because remember I used to do that?
Yeah.
And so I looked down at my hands and I was like, I got to pee. So I got up, went to go pee, and I'm out of it, you know, because melatonin does something to me. It's like worse than any, like Ambien, it's worse than that. I don't know why. So I'm sitting there and Jeff is on top of the towel rack, like up there.
Yeah.
And I remember staring at him while peeing and going,
You belong to me.
yeah, that's exactly what I thought. And then I went back and laid down. I woke up this morning. I was like, that was weird. And I've been thinking about it all day.
I have not had a lucid dream like that in a long time.
I haven't either. I like them. They're fun.
The ones where you fall back asleep and you pick up right where you left
Yeah.
off, and it's just like
I
watching.
just kept having the same dream.
pausing a movie.
Yeah, it was weird. Makes me wonder if I should watch like some really trippy stuff and then take melatonin. It's crazy that melatonin has that effect on me. And I didn't drink anything yesterday. I mean, I don't drink during the week typically.
Yeah, I don't know. I take every once in a while melatonin gummies, and
Yeah.
I feel useless in the morning. Have a hard time waking up.
Oh, really? No, I don't. The VA gives them to me because they know I won't take pills. So they gave me, I think they're like 3 milligrams is all they are.
Mhm.
And one time I doubled it and it really didn't do anything. And so I Googled it and it was like the less you take, the better better your body
Really
uses it. Yeah.
interesting.
If you take too much, your body's like, eh.
Huh.
So I'm wondering if I take like 2 milligrams, if my body will just be like, yeah.
Like he took. Oh man, what's the name of that stuff that he took in Wolf of Wall Street?
Quaaludes.
Quaaludes. Yeah. He's like crawling through that clubhouse
Onto the steps.
to his Ferrari or Lamborghini, whatever the hell it was.
What a wild life that would be.
Dude, that was a crazy.
Would you
life.
live that life? Like if you were single and you were filthy rich, like if you came up the way he came up and you were filthy rich, I think I would be flying helicopters completely hammered. You know, back in the day before the internet and all that.
I think that's how everybody lived.
Yeah.
And that's like if you were a single multi-millionaire back before there was phones everywhere, like
Yeah.
I think that's what everybody did.
Nobody could just film you doing something.
Yeah. And you could do some wild stuff and be like, you guys keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
And that's as far as you had to go.
Well, it's your word against mine.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I didn't do that.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Now
Now
it's phones and cameras everywhere, and you can't get away with anything.
I feel bad for kids today. Think about all the stuff we would have gotten in trouble for. I mean, I think about it all the time. It's kind of like you're like, I got away with it barely. Because I think video came out
Oh, yeah, it
like
was-
my second year of college, like when should have been my second year of college.
Yeah.
That's
It
kind
was-
of when video cell phones came out.
Yeah, and I would agree that
Or picture, not video.
when I was in college, those last couple years is when you really started to see an uptick in like Facebook and Instagram and some of those things. Even Instagram and what wasn't that big. Twitter was just kind of becoming a thing, but Facebook was still huge. And you would see people post pictures from parties and things like that, and you were like, "Oh, I can see how this could go downhill real quick."
Yeah.
You
Well, I
know?
had a MySpace and then I had a Facebook when I got to college.
Yeah.
And I swear to you, when I got in, the community was like, I have to Google this, but I remember it being small. Like the amount of people that had, because it was only, you had to
It
have a
was
college ID.
Yeah, it was
college email
only
address.
colleges. And
There was
it
like 800 people.
And there was not that many colleges in the network yet.
Yeah. I think there was
And
like
so-
800 people on Facebook.
Yeah, I remember when I was going to community college. I had a .edu,
Mm-hmm.
email address, but it was not in the collective like group of colleges that were allowed to join. It wasn't until I got to East Carolina that I was able to do that. You had it at Liberty, but
Yeah.
I
I remember it was like us
Praise-
and
praise the
Harvard
Lord.
and like maybe San Diego or something.
there was
Southern
only
California.
when it very first started, like when he invented it, it was like 2 or 3 campuses. It was
Yeah.
it. But it's pretty wild how that bolt just exploded.
Yeah.
You
All
think Mark Zuckerberg ever just sits in his house and is just like,
What did I do?
what the hell happened?
Yeah.
All I
Probably.
wanted to do was not go to class. I wanted to code and create a thing.
Well, I think about Michael Jordan, like when he goes to take a shower. Not right now. I mean, I'm sure he's still super popular, but back when, like in his prime, when like if he's at a hotel and just people are just hounding him everywhere he goes, signs outside, and then he goes and takes a shower and he just puts his head on the wall and he's like,
I bet you pro athletes and celebrities that reach that point go through a period like that.
yeah.
All of them. They have
They
to.
just, they sit around and talk to each other and are like, so how do you deal with it? And he's like, I just put on my game face and I make that money.
Yeah, just deal with it.
Yeah.
Just deal with it.
All right.
Well,
Let's get a random fact in here.
Random fact of the week.
All right. So since St. Patrick's Day is this Thursday, the 17th, a few days from now, I figured I would do some interesting facts related to St. Patrick's Day. Some of these you may already know.
Okay.
Some of them I did not know and I found interesting. So I'll run through them fairly quickly. Some are pretty boring, but whatever. So the real St. Patrick was not born in Ireland or the Emerald Isle. He was born in England. It is said that he banished snakes from Emerald Isle.
I actually knew that.
Fossil records, though, show that Emerald Isle never had
snakes.
snakes. So, no, not true. It is believed that the idea of leprechauns is actually based on Celtic folklore involving fairies. So that's where the idea of leprechauns, little men and women.
With the pot of gold.
Yeah.
Are there female leprechauns?
I'm sure there are.
I think leprechaun is a man.
Where do the man leprechauns
They
come from?
just do.
Do you put the pot of gold before the leprechaun? Like, how does this work?
How does the sun set?
It just does. So the shamrock, called a seamroy by Celts, is considered sacred. Each of the 4 clovers on a 4-leaf clover stands for something. They are luck, hope, faith, and love. And you have a 1 in 10,000 chance of finding a 4-leaf clover.
Oh, my wife's really good at it.
Yeah.
She used to send them to me when I was basic training.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
The first St. Patrick's Day parade was actually held in the United States in what is now St. Augustine, Florida, in
Really?
1601.
I would have guessed Savannah.
Yeah, you would think. I would have guessed Ireland, but
Oh, no, I didn't. That's a good guess, though. Yeah.
But no, not in America. Now, a couple of interesting facts I wasn't able to find. I didn't spend a ton of time, but in 2020, website Wallet Hub estimated that there roughly 6.16 billion with a B money was spent on St. Patrick's Day celebrations, alcohol, decoration, going out. Like the economy saw an injection of globally, I believe, of 6.16.
So
unless
it's
that was just
Valentine's Day, but Irish.
Kind of, yeah. And believe it or not, St. Patrick's Day is the 4th biggest drinking holiday. It's not even the first in the United States. Yeah.
July 4th.
It's behind July 4th, New Year's.
New Year's.
Yeah, New Year's, and I believe
Cinco de Mayo.
I don't know. I want to say Christmas was maybe in there, or Thanksgiving maybe.
So it's all a money
some other
grab,
ones.
you're saying?
Could be. I can tell you that on St. Patrick's Day, Guinness is served 819% more
I believe it.
than any other day of the week.
I mean, the only time I drink Guinness is when I go to an Irish pub.
And I didn't read all into
not true.
the comments, but like we get super slammed during Christmas. That's like where we make up a huge portion of part of our yearly revenue. Guinness, like part of their revenue marketing forecasting plan, St. Patrick's Day is a huge part. Of that. Can you imagine condensing all that into one day?
Could you imagine if your business was St. Patrick's Day stuff? Like you sell like the green shirts and all
right,
that stuff.
yeah.
That's your business. So you literally have like a month and then you're off the rest of the year.
Yeah.
We should have started. We should do. We should come up with a Whiskey and Whitetail St. Patrick's thing,
Okay. Can.
or whatever the number one drinking holiday is. Let's pick that one.
Okay. We'll have to go back to that article. But on St. Patrick's Day, there is an average of 1 fatal car crash every 36 minutes accompanied or associated with
Drinking and
drinking and driving. Makes you just want to stay the f- home.
One every 36 minutes.
Yeah, man. Jeez. It's a lot. And as I mentioned, you and I were talking, St. Patrick's sainthood is actually very questionable because he was never officially canonized. So the fact that like he is
The only saint most people know.
has this sainthood. It just sort of started, and I think it was one of those things that it just snowballed, and the Catholic Church was like,
Sure.
it's fine.
Yeah.
I guess. So that's some of the
So he was never actually granted
and the
sainthood?
original color associated with like celebrating St. Patrick was actually blue, not green.
Blue.
Yeah.
Why?
No idea. It just said it was
I would have
originally
guessed
blue.
orange. Because of all the orange Irish people.
Orange Irish people. No, not orange. Blue for some reason. I like I said, I don't know why, but I thought it was interesting. And the shamrock I meant to is considered sacred by the Celts because it symbolizes spring, which is important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's all the old pagan traditions celebrated fall and spring.
Yeah, and the traditional shamrock that has 3, it's said that St. Patrick used that to demonstrate and symbolize the Holy Trinity, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit.
And then the white supremacists took it over in prison.
Assholes.
Yeah. Shocker to all the people that have a shamrock, would have a 3-leaf clover. That is a gang sign
That is a gang
in prison for the white.
supremacists.
Yeah.
So maybe throw a 4th clover leaf on there.
That's what I did. That's a joke.
It's a joke.
Is it? It's a joke. Yeah. So, are you doing anything for St. Patrick's Day?
Am I doing anything for St. Patrick's Day? So St. Patrick's Day falls on a Thursday.
Yes.
I'll probably.
Does that mean this weekend is Park Circle?
I think it's the following week. Yeah. Wait. No, it'll be the weekend after. I think.
Okay.
I think it's always the week like that follows it. If it's not during that week, because the reason I say that, and I could be wrong, but I remember at the meeting for the market, Karen said that weekend, which she referred to as St. Patrick's weekend, is really busy downtown. So I think it must be that following week end. So like the 18th, 19th.
Interesting. I want to go to it.
I'm camping that weekend.
Are you?
At the Goatery.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
nice.
with the pack and the troop. We're doing a big joint thing.
The one on Kiowa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One of our Boy Scouts is working on his Eagle project. He's building bat boxes to put out around the community. I didn't know this, but bat boxes near homes and communities helps with mosquitoes. Did you know that?
Yeah, we have a bunch of bats.
Yeah, didn't know that.
You know what else helps? Praying mantises.
Oh yeah?
Andy bought 5,000 praying mantis eggs off Amazon. It was like $24. But I guess
You can just buy animal eggs on Amazon?
Yep.
Amazon.
But you birth them inside because I guess they don't birth at the same time.
Okay.
But if you don't monitor them, they'll eat each other because they're just they come out the egg just hungry. But you, I guess you just scoop them up and you put them around your yard. They won't all live.
No, of course not. It's a numbers game.
So I'm gonna have praying mantises like currency out there. I'm gonna have a ton of them. So if you ever need,
you guys aren't going to respond to messages for like days, and I'm going to get worried, and I'm going to come over there, and they will have attacked you and Taylor and Tyler, and we'll have just eaten you guys alive. I'm just going to find,
pool.
Yeah, I'm just going to find empty skeletons, and the neighbors behind you won't care because they don't like you anyways.
Yep. I thought about building a giant wall in my backyard.
What if they eat their kids?
That would fix
migrate over there, and
that would fix the tree house they built on my fence line.
It's still not done.
No, they started moving stuff in. It's got lights in it now.
Oh, nice. So now they have an excuse to be out there at nighttime being stupid when you're trying to enjoy your pool.
And I came out there because I heard them out there and the lights were on. They're bright. And I came out there and just stood on the porch. And then about 5 minutes later, I turned them off. Like, come on. I thought about, because I had an HOA, so I got to prove everything. And I thought, part of me is like, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to build a wall. Just build a wall, like a lattice wall, put some vine on it. I was going to build that. Make it look nice.
Build you that wall.
Make it look nice. But then I was like, what if they complain or someone else complains? So I'm like, well, how do I tell the HOA? Like, I don't want to look at this dude's broke down Dodge Ram and his kid's treehouse on my fence line. I don't want to look at it all the time. Like, there's no nice way to do it.
You should build some birdhouses and get a regular occurrence of some birds back there. And then there's an organization, and I think you can declare your yard or your piece of property like a protected wildlife habitat, and then the HOA cannot force you to do certain things.
Should do it with snakes. Just get a bunch of cane brakes and diamondbacks and just like...
This is a nature preserve. Sorry.
You're like, can the kids come over and swim? Like, I don't think you want to.
Yeah. They can.
There's like 30 diamondbacks in my backyard right now.
But they'll stay away.
Yeah.
If they want to swim, the problem is the 14 cottonmouths that are in the water.
And they can swim fast.
And they're not very nice either.
No. very vicious snakes. Yeah, but whatever. I'm gonna figure something out.
Yep.
Figure something out.
So this was another episode of just randomness. Do we have a
Well, it's that part of the
keyword?
year, right? There's no big whiskey releases to talk about. We already did the Kentucky Owl release.
Yeah, we'll have some.
There's a lot
fun,
of scotches coming out right now, but nobody cares.
We'll have some fun whiskey stuff to talk about after our trip next month.
Yep, for sure. I'm going to the executive.
And then we're going to Highwire, right? We're still doing that?
That's the 14th, I think. Yeah. So next week we'll talk about the high wire stuff, and then
Yeah.
the week after that we'll have some content from it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I intend to do a follow-up on how the DIY ozone box did this year. Traveled around with it, used it quite a bit, threw it around. So I'll do a little short video. How it held up, what I would have liked to do different. If
Those plastic,
to do it
the only
again.
thing I could see is those side clamps being an issue.
Yeah, they're actually pretty sturdy. But you're right. And out of the whole mechanism, those tiny little plastic little nipples that
Just
go
think
into
about how many broken ones we have.
Yeah, we break them all the time. But as long as you're not abusing it too bad, it's not terrible. The other options are the lids that you just push and they snap into place. But then when you add the weather stripping to provide that seal, it makes it hard to clamp sometimes, and then it'll pop open. So you just kind of picking your
I guess you bite.
picking what battle you want to fight. But it's done pretty good. There's a few things I would have done different, and I'll highlight those.
There's probably some quick release C clamps that you could just like
Oh yeah, I didn't think about
plastic
that.
weld to the corners. Just
The other thing I thought about were like you can buy just generic clamps, like straps that you find on a back, with the plastic clips, and just you can buy them long enough that you could just go over the top of it and then tighten it down. You could use something almost like a ratchet strap.
I went down a rabbit hole of a follower that we had, a follower / we follow him as well.
Mhm.
But he lives in Japan and his thing is coffee.
Yeah.
Right. And so he has a backpack, and it's got a hatchet, which I bought the same hatchet, which was $200. And I'm really excited to get it in, but it's a hatchet, a nice knife, a fire starter, and coffee, a pot. And then he has these tables, and these tables fold up, and then all he does is unfold them and put a bungee cord around it, and it keeps it together.
Yeah.
So he goes out in the woods and he chops up wood.
A dope spot and makes coffee.
It makes coffee, and
That's cool.
It's like, but
That's a lot of work though, because you got to find new places. I follow a guy called I think it's Sasquatch Barbecue, and he does the same thing with cooking. He has little portable
this guy will cook too.
grills and stuff.
He's got a sandwich press, and he just throws 2 pieces of bread in it and whatever he wants, and then cooks it on the fire.
Yeah.
But he has a firebox. So the firebox is the next piece. So the firebox,
the folding one.
Yep. So I'm gonna have that, the hatchet, and then he makes. Do you know what fire starter feathers, or I can't remember what they're called? But he takes a piece of firewood and he takes a knife and he shaves it, and it becomes like this ball of feather.
We teach that in Scouts. Yeah, I forget the name of it. It's really.
And then he just puts the fire starter on it. One hit,
starts right up,
and it catches on fire. And then he creates his firebox, and he boils water, makes coffee, and he sips coffee. And then I'm like, it'd be cool to just be like, today I'm gonna go into France, like in the winter.
Yeah.
But in France, man, I'm gonna start a fire, make coffee, have a cigar, and just hang out for a little bit.
Yeah. I think it's great.
I think I like it.
If you're
really
close,
interested.
if you have easily accessible areas like that, it'd be cool to do the same thing. And the guy that I was talking about, I think it's called Sasquatch Barbecue. He's based up in Oregon or Washington, I think, and he takes similar little like portable cooking gadgets. And I've even seen him go to like a mountain overlook and stop at a lookout, and pull out a full size grill and do it. But he'll find little. He'll find his way down to a mossy covered rock area next to a river, and he'll start his little thing with a pot, and he got to start by doing steaks. And his little thing was like a butter toss. Like he would toss the butter into the pan from like here to there.
Oh, nice.
Pink, and then he would cook his steak with this nice scenic view, and that was his thing. And he'd do everything with his fingers. And then he got a sponsorship for like tongs and stuff like that.
You can see this guy got a tent sponsorship.
Yeah.
It's a tent made out of like canvas material that you would see like in the army or something.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. But yeah, I got to
fun stuff.
I got to go. I have a tattoo appointment today too. I
Awesome.
forgot about until right now.
Well, enjoy your tattoo.
Yep. Okay. Well, thanks everybody for listening.
Yep. Cheers.
And Matt, 66539.
Which CWE spotlight are we doing next?
Let's do Andrew Beam
Andrew Beam sounds good.
because I think he's got some musical spots coming up.
Yeah.
So we'll give him something to kind of launch those events with.
Cool. And if you didn't already, check out last week's. We did Gin from Forge Gin, which is owned by Brown Foreman. So we talked Forge Gin,
Old Forester.
Navy Strength Gin, Old Forester, good stuff. So go check that out.
Yep. It's up and live. You can go watch it now.
All right, we're done. Out.
All right. Bye.